Steve Herron. How are you?
I'm good. You
Good,
Ryan?
good.
Thanks.
It's good to have you, man.
Well,
Welcome to the studio.
I love this. This is
Yeah.
such a sweet setup. You make me feel very special.
I
So,
mean, it's now partly your studio,
right.
so
I will take it. I will take it.
well, it's good to have you, man. And I just kind of wanted to take today and kind of dig into, who you are.
Sure.
You've been in Colorado how long now?
Oh, wow. Well, we left twice.
Okay.
So our first experience here, I had been out on a business trip around 2006. We had 4 younger kids back home, back east, and I had to come out for actually for my former industry career was in publishing. So I was working with Christian publishers, and we were out here for a conference, and I was just soaking up all the sights and sounds, and had no idea this would be home someday. And that actually happened in 2008. So,
Okay.
and here we are in 2025. We left for 2 opportunities that were each a year in length, and we just keep coming back. So here we are.
Well, I would say, Colorado Springs there's no place better to call home.
Right.
I mean, you got the Front Range, everything's within minutes, recreationally speaking,
Yeah.
the camping, the hiking,
Right.
all the fun stuff. So, yeah, I mean, me being from Oklahoma, this is a totally different ballgame.
Oh, certainly.
Because I'm
Right.
from flatlands
Mhm.
and lakes.
Yeah.
And so to have mountains right here is beautiful. So tell me a little bit. So you were in a publishing career,
Right.
and then there's been some changes since then, right?
Quite a bit.
What
Yeah.
what is it that you're currently doing?
Well, I am a real estate agent,
Okay.
licensed in 2 states. So originally from Alabama. If you can't tell by the accent, I've been out here almost 17 years. It will not go away. So I think that helps me be a little more relatable and calm people down sometimes. But I keep an active license down on the Gulf Coast. So I love the beach. I love condo style living, short-term rentals. So my desire is to grow a business there. Obviously, the business is steady as she goes here. So this is my primary market. I've been doing this here in Colorado Springs for 8.5 years already.
Wow.
Just blinked, and here we are.
Yeah, and I had no idea that it's been that long.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And who is it that you primarily work with? I know we've talked about, the younger entrepreneur, the young family,
Right.
But yeah, dig into that a little bit. Who is it that you truly like to work with?
Sure. Of course, every customer and client needs equal attention. Their needs are slightly different. The older demographic, people my age, they have different capabilities. They have different needs. They have different reasons why they're purchasing or selling. But the bulk, or like the majority of who I have worked with, are people like you.
Mm-hmm.
The young dads, the young moms, young professionals,
Mm-hmm.
people who actually need a home, a place they can call home. And they're not quite there, almost, to where they're buying, shelter.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking for a lifestyle. The careers are just getting started. The kids are getting into school. They have more options. They have a little more discretionary income they can play with. So that excites me, especially first-time home buyers. They have the most questions, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. I've been married for 28 years, and we've had 21 addresses, and we're not even in the military. So
Jeez, man.
it is crazy.
You're a professional mover.
Yeah, and so I can relate, and that's the way I come across. I want to tell them, I said, look, I'm not unaware of what you're feeling and what is going through your mind right now.
The relatability factor is turned all the way up.
And it gets tough. We've moved across country several times, and sometimes just in the same neighborhood, and it takes a lot of effort. I'm really good at logistics. I like the planning. I treat all of my sales roles kind of like a project manager, because there are obviously moving parts that have to be in sync and in a certain order for them to work out properly. And you want to get to that end result. And it's it's just like a chain reaction, but it has to be controlled. You
Mm.
don't want anything to combust or blow up on you.
Mhm.
And my mind just automatically thinks 3 or 4 steps ahead
Mm.
of what's coming.
True problem solver.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I just, because I've been there, we've
Mm.
moved with adult children, we've moved with little ones, we've moved with pets, without pets, and different ways. We've had company moves where they did everything for us,
Yeah.
and then we've had to do it ourselves. So you rally the troops, your next door neighbors and your family members
Yeah.
all become involved.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that part of it, I take a lot of pride in, that I can just relate to where they are.
Yeah. So big question. What
Okay.
what got you into real estate to begin with?
It's,
What was that?
I kind of fell into it accidentally,
Okay.
kind of, sort of. So I have real estate history in my family. My older sister, she's 15 years older than me. She's been in the industry for almost 50 years.
Wow.
She was in the trenches selling real estate when Remax was born. So she was there when the brand new toy was on the market and everyone wanted to open a franchise office.
Mm-hmm.
So in my 20s, when I was single, she tried to get me into the business.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just a different person. And I was always very organized, responsible, never late for work, did all the things I'm supposed to do. But I really struggled on the learning factor, just the pressure of so much information, being able to study and pass the test.
Yeah.
And so it just did not work out. It was not the right time.
Mm.
So, yeah.
Wow. Well, so you got into real estate, and what was that like when you first started? Because I'm sure there's tons of people out here that are aspiring to start their real estate career as
Sure.
well. What was that like? You said it wasn't the right time yet,
Yeah.
but when did it become time? How did you know it was time?
Well, when I look back on my career, I feel like I'm such a mixed bag because I've done so many things.
Mm.
I've been in the hospitality industry, middle management, mostly sales roles, a little bit on the fulfillment side, distribution center work. Then I got on the front end of things and was, direct to consumer. They were, face to face, belly to belly conversations.
Mm.
I once had I was a road rep for a while for several publishers. So I had the responsibility of an entire region where I was paying them visits, 3 cycles a year, new products coming out, new catalogs, and you had to get in front of those folks. So that became just a new thing I had to learn about getting in front of people, presenting well,
Mm.
figuring out their needs, listening well.
Mm.
And so when I look at now, so many years, it's been mostly in those type of roles where I have been right in the face of the public.
Mm.
So transitioning into real estate wasn't a big leap as far as the learning curve. It was definitely a highly regulated industry that we have, we're always doing continuing education. The test is something just to prove your fortitude. I tell everyone that has questions about this industry that this first segment, you are a professional test taker.
Mm.
And you just got to get over that hump. And so once you get there, then we can teach you how to do the job. Because it's a lot different. It's basically book knowledge, scenarios, those kinds of things. It's multiple choice. And so, yeah, I just approach it that way. A lot of people are interested because they think it's fast, quick, easy money. That is not true. So it does take, I have leaned on my past experience to get to this spot.
Yeah, for sure.
And as far as being able to get past all of the testing, that really improved for me once I was married. When life, I was always able to really, very responsible. I took care of myself. I was never behind on bills. I had savings. I did all the things. And then I bought my first home when I was 28 years old. And after that, it was just a short time later, found myself married,
Mm.
and it was an instant family because I took on a 5-year-old as well. And then we went on to have 3 more children
Wow.
together. So
Little
it was a
tribe.
very busy household.
Yeah.
And when the stakes were higher like that, I just learned to really focus, dial in,
Hmm.
because suddenly the stakes were much higher. It was much more important. That it wasn't before, but I had people relying on me now.
Yeah.
And so, man, it was game on. There
Yeah.
was a period there where we had 3 children at the time, and I was in college taking every available course however you could do it. If it was online, videotape, in person, whatever, just to get it done. And holding down 2 jobs, uh, taking care of my wife and the kids, paying the bills, and you know, it was just a lot happening.
Yeah.
I look back and I don't see how we managed it. But life is like that.
Yeah.
You take care of what is in front of you,
Yeah.
and there was a lot of in front of us at that point.
Yeah, that whole
So,
that whole idea of your back being up against the wall,
right,
like can you kind of just perform.
right,
You don't even know how you're doing it, but you're doing it and
right.
it's happening and it's coming
I
together.
see you in the same place.
Yeah.
You're doing it as well. You
Yeah.
you are very entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
You're able to spin many plates,
Yeah.
and your children look up to you and smile, and your dad.
Yeah.
You can change that role very quickly. We put on different hats.
Yeah.
And we learn to do that just by being kind of thrown into the fire, so to
Hmm.
speak.
Yep, jump into the deep end. I don't
Right.
know how to swim.
Start paddling.
Yep, exactly. That's
But
awesome.
but you asked me how I got into it. It was
Yeah.
very interesting. So my career brought us to Colorado. I was in a sales role, like I mentioned, managing the Southeast region. So I had accounts in 5 states. So doing that role, and that played out because publishing was changing. You probably are aware. A lot of people
Mhm.
are. A lot of bookstore chains were closing. Mom and pops, independents were very, struggling. And so we found ourselves out of work.
Mhm.
And because of my connections, there was a publishing house out here in Colorado
Mhm.
that came knocking.
Mm.
And so I interviewed for the position, and next thing I know, they hired us. And I say us because it takes the whole family to make it work.
Absolutely.
And that was one of the paid moves. They moved us across country. And when I look back, I think, wow, we weren't dreaming very big in those days. We just, like I said, you're doing what's in front of you.
Mm.
This opportunity came up, and it just felt like total peace at the time.
Yeah.
I felt for my in-laws, because we took all the grandchildren away.
Mhm.
But that worked out. It created a lot of opportunity for us to do big family events.
Mhm.
They expanded their borders, coming out to visit, and holidays and travel and all these things that took place because of that.
Yeah.
But after a few years and bouncing around a little bit in the publishing and book industry, it was through my real estate agent that we found online. That's the way, people search when they going into an unknown market.
Mm.
My wife got online, found the first agent that, pulled up to the top, and
Yeah.
we contacted her and flew out to look at homes. And that was a very different time. 2008, we know what was going on there. So we
Mhm.
had the pick of the litter,
Mm.
and buyers had all the negotiating power then.
Mm.
And so, looking at 50 homes and um, making an offer on Friday, and it was accepted almost immediately. And we were back on a plane heading back home to start packing to get back out here.
Wow.
So through that relationship that we kept going over the years, so that was 2008. My agent just put the bug in my ear one time after we'd done 2 or 3 transactions with her. Because like I said, 21 addresses.
Mhm. That's some
A
moves.
handful of them have been right here in the spring.
Yeah.
So she just said, I think you would be good at this. You should at least consider it.
Mhm.
And it's always something that's been there. It was planted a long time ago.
Yeah.
My sister telling me, I can see it in people. I know who will do well in
Mhm.
this role. and she always wanted me to go for it, you know.
Yeah.
And so the next step is just sign up for an online class
Mm-hmm.
because of scheduling and work. Um, being able to go to an in-person class, which is highly valuable,
Mm-hmm.
I had to resolve to just do it online. So it
Mm-hmm.
was self-paced. A lot of us are used to that now since the
Yeah.
COVID era, and we're used to doing things remote and
Right.
online. So it worked out for me, and I got study partners.
Mm-hmm.
We practice and practice and practice. That's how you pass the course.
Yeah.
And somehow, a miracle from God, I passed the first time around.
Wow.
The biggest weight was lifted off my shoulders
Yeah.
because now I had this thing that would open a door
Got
and
a
let
skill.
us, yeah.
Yeah.
And you can make it as big or small as you want.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of sales.
Yeah.
I don't care what the product is.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you can communicate with people and you have a needed product or service,
Yeah.
you can be as successful as you want to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's how I got in, and I joined their brokerage. It was a boutique brokerage and had some great success. I had a wonderful mentor, of course,
Mm-hmm.
and so that turned out pretty good. And
That's
so
awesome.
that's how we found ourselves here, and then it just fast forward 8.5 years.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Well, and now you're crushing it. You've got your own brand,
Working on
the
that.
Heron brand, and you're pumping, and you're with EXP now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
With the Colorado team over there.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. And so tell me, like, it's kind of tricky to get into the market that you're in currently.
Yeah.
You're kind of like in the luxury end of things right now, currently.
At the moment, yes.
Yeah.
It just
And it
evolved.
wasn't like that
No,
always,
not at
right?
all.
And so I think a lot of people, desire to get into the luxury market and they don't know really how to do it, and like they get overwhelmed and kind of a little intimidated by the big
Oh,
numbers,
sure. Yeah.
and so but we've been working together for a little while now. I got
Mhm.
to see the last one that you sold, and you're in a pretty big one right now.
Yeah.
um tell me how that's going. How are you liking that?
It has its challenges.
Yeah.
Every market has its challenges, and then every price point is a different challenges, a set of parameters, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Every client is different. No two deals are ever alike.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be daunting for people getting into this business because you can't prepare them for everything. You just have to walk through it.
Right.
And we are problem solvers.
Mm-hmm.
And so the connector in me just brings people together with the product they're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go through the steps. There is a framework. There's always that.
Mm-hmm.
But things change because people are people.
Mm-hmm.
And so you've got to be able to navigate emotions, questions.
Mm-hmm.
If you're dealing with a couple, they're not wired alike either.
Right.
So we're often, challenged with being able to meet the needs of two very, very different people.
So you're telling me, like, you're not only a realtor but a marriage counselor as well?
It feels that way, yes. Yes.
Well, with that, you're talking about people. I know you told me just earlier that you kind of like to work with that young professional family.
Yeah.
And I believe that a lot of people are kind of just sitting on their hands right now. They don't know really what to do exactly just yet. But speak a little bit to that young professional. Maybe this is going to be their first home.
Yeah.
Right. And they're like, gosh, but the interest rates, they were at 3. Now they're like 6.5.
Yeah.
Should I wait? Do I get into the market now? I'm sure mom and dad might help me or something like that, but what would you say to them, just sitting, kind of waiting for it to dip? What would you say?
We get asked that question a lot as far as, is this a good time to buy or sell?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to flip that back around. They said, well, what is best for you?
Mm.
You have needs. What is causing you to want to make a change?
Mm.
maybe you've never bought a home and you've been told you've got to invest, you've got to stop renting, you've got to stop throwing money away. Not everyone feels that way. Some people have a lot of safety and assurance in renting, and there's nothing wrong with that. And then you have the entrepreneurial types that are thinking about building their portfolio for the future. And so they're antsy. They want to do something. They don't like to give someone else their dollars that's not building equity for them.
Right.
And so I just have to dig into who they are. I want to know, well, what is your risk tolerance? Why are you wanting to make a change? There's so many things involved with making a purchase that I just think like, well, how is your budget? You know, can you afford that payment in our current environment?
Right.
Are you both in agreement if there's more than one person involved? So it's really on them as whether or not this market works for them. You can never pace the market or figure it out. We're all speculating as best we can. We read articles. We listen to a lot of talking heads, and we're doing that right now, just trying to gauge what's coming. You know, the COVID pandemic, all of that created a blood in the water feeding frenzy of sales, right? And it happened because we were in a very unique scenario where interest rates just bottomed out. And of course, everyone was trying to take advantage of that good luck, you know. Well, now to a lot of people, because of the way they're wired, it doesn't feel like good luck anymore.
Right.
Because they did a lot of heroic efforts to get the home. We were, you know, competition was super high.
Yeah.
So to get back to your question, what is it they need most? Why are they doing it? And then through those questions, that kind of Socratic methodology, just figure out what is going to work for you. Because what works for Uriah doesn't work for Steve,
Right.
or vice versa.
Yeah.
My risk tolerance may be here, and yours, because you're young and high energy, it's way up here.
Yeah.
You know, and some people will not let one factor slow them down.
Right.
I've talked to a lot of lenders, and even when people are talking about selling their property and they're going to make a huge, you know, the proceeds is a big number.
Right.
What is that going to do to our taxes?
Yeah.
Capital gains this and all these other factors.
Yeah.
So they have to bring in other professionals to try to wade through that and decide if it's still a good time.
Yeah.
So everyone's different.
Yeah.
You know, the market is always changing. Right now we're getting asked, are we in a buyer's market? My thought is kind of. It depends on how you look at it. And if you want to talk about that, buyers are getting more as far as in negotiating power than we were before.
Yeah.
During that period, sellers had everything. They held all the cards. You know, I was showing homes where they weren't even bothering to clean the homes. They didn't care.
Yeah.
You know, they knew they could just go on to the next buyer.
I remember during that COVID era, you could put anything on the market. I mean, a cardboard box. That was when I started my real estate career in Fort Worth, and it was booming. You know, it was like selling here, you know,
Right.
and I didn't even have to work that hard. It was just happening.
Yeah.
You know, now it's a totally different ball game. You really have to, you know, mind your P's and Q's a little bit more.
Right.
And, you know, make sure the home shows well, you know, making sure that, you know, we're not getting overran by some buyer coming through and offering you, you know, $40,000 under and, you know, still having a mind, you know, and using it. But yeah, I would agree with you. I think there's a little bit of pivoting happening, and the buyers are able to kind of negotiate a little bit. I wouldn't call it a buyer's market yet, but it's definitely kind of teetering.
Yeah. And that could change tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, by the end of 25, you know, while we're sitting here, we're sitting in October of 25.
Yeah.
Well, what is fourth quarter going to bring to us?
Mm-hmm.
That still remains to be seen.
Potentially 2 more rate cuts,
Yeah.
all this other stuff.
Right.
There's no telling.
And we know that, I was talking to a lender just today that the anticipation of a rate cut
Mm-hmm.
tends to make rates, mortgage rates dip a little bit.
Yeah.
Right before.
Well, because they bake them in, right?
Yeah.
They bake these cuts in, and that's what I love talking with lenders and getting them on podcasts and stuff like that, because a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people don't understand what do you mean baked in?
Yeah.
Like they're accounting for that rate cut weeks, sometimes months before it actually happens. And so everybody thinks, oh, the rate just got cut, I got to go in there. Well, it's already been lowered.
Yeah.
Based on the information that these lenders have had before.
And I love talking to buyers about assembling their team.
Mm-hmm.
So I always recommend 2 or 3 lenders that say, look, you waded through several people more than likely before you got to me.
Mm.
We all know 6 to 12 people with licenses. And so once they have made up their mind that I am the right fit for them, then I'm like, well, who is the right fit for your lender?
Mm.
If you need one, there are a lot of cash deals going on right now,
Mm-hmm.
but you assemble your team just like I have my team, my support system. I want them to have the best information, the best support, and we have to be encouragers. It's just not numbers dealing with the black and white. It's you're dealing with human emotion. There's a lot of anxiety that goes with this, and people realize that, it's the biggest purchase of their life.
Yeah.
And so the lender plays an important role to not only just tell them, well, here's what the rate is today. Most of them have access to the same programs or the pools of money if you use a broker. And I try to tell them the difference in between a direct lender and using a broker. The lenders I work with that I send to my people, they're available. I want them to be able to answer a question, hopefully not late at night. We try to avoid that, but just be available to offer that peace of mind, comfort when and where it's needed.
Yeah.
And it just takes a lot of just being a soft hand to people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't strong arm people, and don't forget that you do this every day of your life. They're doing it once every 3 to 5, maybe 7 years. And so to them, it's a big, hairy deal. And we're so used to it because we're around it, 7 days a week. So I want to remind myself, just remember what it felt like when you were purchasing, and just have that empathy and be sure that you're listening, keeping things calm. Behind the scenes, my job is to take most of those fiery darts for them and keep them in a good, healthy place. And so it's a challenge, but it's very satisfying.
Yeah.
I really enjoy that.
So what I'm hearing is not only are you seasoned, not only have you been in the game for a little while, but you go before you even get the client to set things up and kind of connect the pieces and the people together. Like that's something that I've experienced in just hanging out with you and doing stuff with you, is that you're very gifted around, connecting.
Yeah.
And, figuring out the problem, like problem solving it immediately, but doing it with grace, like doing it with, like you said, empathy, like actually caring about the person rather than just saying, okay, we're going to do this, and then we're done. Right. Like actually hearing their heart, hearing what it is that they're really looking for.
Sure.
Right. And because all agents have access to the MOS, right?
Oh,
yeah. All agents can see what's going on Zillow, but to actually sit and listen and like bring dignity to a human being.
Right.
That is few and far between.
Right.
And so I just in working with you and seeing how you do business, I've seen that in a wild way, and I applaud it for
Thank
sure.
you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm very humbled by that because people have lots of choices.
Mm,
I mean, look how you and I live,
mm-hmm,
how we shop,
mm-hmm,
what we drive,
mm-hmm,
the places we go. Where do we recreate? Where do we eat?
mm-hmm,
Where do we lodge on vacation?
mm-hmm.
So you've got to do things to stand out and not showboat people,
Right.
but just be sure that you're looking them confidently in the eyes
Mm-hmm.
and saying, I can do this for you,
Yeah.
but I'm going to shoot straight with you.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give you a kind of a loving hand,
Mm,
a steady hand, and I will anticipate all that I can to, get you set up for success.
mm,
Again, that project manager thinking 3, 4 steps ahead.
yeah.
We know what's in the process, but there are things that come out from left field that you're like, okay, we need to talk about this.
Yeah.
What does that look like for you guys?
Mm,
You asked me earlier, how did I find myself in kind of the higher price points? It just evolves over time. Um, I've done enough, you know, contracts and negotiations and enough clients where it just kind of rolled over into that.
mm-hmm.
And then not that I didn't have to interview for the job.
Right.
They're the smart ones, are talking to 3 to 5 agents.
Mm-hmm.
They want to know what you can do.
Yeah.
And you've got to be able to show them beyond the basics
Mm-hmm.
that, oh, I have a subscription to the local MLS. I can set you up on a search, and then we'll go open a few doors for you.
Yeah.
It's not that simple.
Yeah. So to bring it back a little bit, one of the things whenever I got to overview your brand and stuff like that was you talk about sanctuary.
Yeah.
What is that? What does that mean? What is I mean, you and I both know because we've been around the church scene and stuff like that. There's there's a church view of that, right? But also like sanctuary for the personal.
Yeah.
What is that?
I think it's different for everyone. Um, and I can lean on my own experience. I was very fortunate to grow up in a very peaceful home.
Mm-hmm.
So mom and dad took care of everything, right? We had responsibilities, and I just knew when I laid my head down at night, I didn't have a worry in the world. And so as a kid, that's your sanctuary. You know who's there, providing for you, protecting you, giving you an environment that you can thrive in. So I talk to people about that. A lot of people move to Colorado for a very specific lifestyle.
Mm.
They're, tend to be more health conscious. They are very outdoorsy. They want the activities. And our city is very unique and special that it it aids that need. It helps people thrive in that arena because you see how connected we are. We can
Mm-hmm.
be on trails, hiking, biking in 5, 10 minutes, but then inside neighborhoods that are interconnected
Mm-hmm.
by sidewalks and pathways, and we have, electronic crosswalks and everything. It's a lifestyle that is very active, um, geared towards pedestrians. We have a lot of traffic here
Mm-hmm.
because we are growing so much,
Mm-hmm.
but they haven't lost sight of the fact that people want to get out and be mobile. Walkability is a high standard here.
Mm-hmm.
People look for that.
Yeah.
You want to be able to just walk down to a local market or your favorite coffee shop. And where I live, the entertainment and everything is just minutes away.
Yeah.
So, getting back to sanctuary, it means different things to different people.
Mm-hmm.
You and I could hash that out.
Mm-hmm.
And what you need in your sanctuary may not be something I have to have,
Mm-hmm.
but I know what I need. And your neighborhood becomes a sanctuary. What is it? What does it look like? What does it feel like? How do the people behave there? You
Mm-hmm.
know, am I finding people I can lock arms with and depend on? You know, the phrase "it takes a village."
Mm-hmm.
You know, where is your village?
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean to you? And then when you go behind your own personal door where you can tune out the world, what do you need inside those four walls?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
And I'm feeling that more as I get older now. We provided a very calm, peaceful, safe environment for our four kids.
Mm-hmm.
But that starts to change now. We only have two left at home.
Right.
What do we want in our future? You know, what are the things that make us feel at home and at peace? And what are the sights and the smells and the sounds, the music, the
Mm-hmm.
food?
Mm-hmm.
You know, all those things matter to people.
Yeah. Now you're at a place in life where you can kind of even be a little bit more picky if you want
Sure.
to what it is that you want.
Yeah,
Steve.
I'm not looking
Yeah.
maybe for the house where I can walk to the school
Yeah.
now. That's changed.
Right.
So,
Steve, I think that is just a beautiful way of talking about real estate. I've never heard it brought like that before.
mm,
I think that is like, we think of our homes as sacred space.
yeah,
It's where we can kind of close out the world and we can just be, And so thank you
right,
for even like stepping into that and even talking about that because I think we need our homes today. I
right.
mean, the world is a wild place out there,
Sure.
and so to have a place of security, of safety, of peace,
hmm
right, is huge. I think that
Right.
ultimately is wealth. That is, success,
Yeah.
in my opinion. But thank you so much for spending time with me today.
Yeah.
I do feel like I got to know you even on a deeper level
Sure.
here and now. And how can people reach out to you though? If somebody's watching this here and now and they're like, "Yep, that's the guy that we need to work with." How do they get a hold of you?
Right. Well, I'm on almost all major platforms: YouTube, LinkedIn, Google Business, Facebook is a hot place for us now. You know, it has changed. So I have a Facebook business page. So just simply Steve Herron Realtor, and you can find me. Instagram, there it is.
Awesome.
So
Great. Well, thank you so much,
yeah,
Steve.
this is great.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.